morning, students. Welcome back to your chemistry class. So in the previous video we had studied about the electrochemical series. Today we are going to talk about the selective discharge of ions at electrodes. So when two or more ions of the same charge they are present in a solution of an electrolyte, then under identical conditions, remember, they are competing for the discharge at the electrode. One of them gets preference, right, to get discharged. So this process is known as selective discharge of ions. What did I say? What is selective discharge of ions at electrodes? That in a solution when there are two or more ions of the same charge, right, then under identical conditions they are competing for the discharge at the same electrode, right. One of them gets preferentially discharged. So this process is known as selective discharge of ions at electrodes. So selective discharge of ion, it depends upon three factors. It depends on three factors. What are those three factors? Number one, the relative position of ion in the EC series, means what is the position of the ion out of those two ions in the EC series, that is one, right. Then second point is the relative concentration of the ion, the relative concentration of the ion, and thirdly we talk about the nature of the electrode. Clear? So these are the 3 points on which the selective discharge of ions at electrode takes place. So let us go one by one and understand what are these factors. So coming to the first one, that is the relative position of ions in the EC series. Now, if all other factors are constant, I am not talking about the concentration, I am not talking about the nature of electrode. That means if all these other factors they are constant, then any ion lower in the electrochemical series will get discharged at the relevant electrode in preference to that particular ion which is placed above the EC series. Is this very clear? This point is clear to you, that whichever ion which is placed lower in the electrochemical series will get preference than the one which is placed above in the EC series. This is the condition where when all other factors they are constant. Okay. Then let's talk about relative concentration of the ion. This means that if an electrolyte has much higher concentration of a particular ion, right, then that particular ion will get discharged at the relevant electrode. Preference is given to those ions, remember, which are lower in the EC series but they are present along with, right. So let's take an example. Okay, so let me talk about electrolysis of concentrated NaCl solution, right. So let us look over here. NaCl, it gives Na plus Cl minus. These are the two ions present in the electrolyte. Then it has to be dissolved in water. So H ion plus OH minus. So these are few ions which are present in the electrolyte. Is that clear? It is called saying solution. So solution means it has to be in water. What? NaCl. Okay. So now look over here. What are the two electrodes we are talking about? We are talking about cathode. We are talking about anode. Clear? So at cathode, which two electrons are going to move? Cathode is a negative electrode, so positive ions are going to move. Therefore, let's see which ions are going to move towards cathode. Sodium ion is moving towards cathode, hydrogen ion is moving towards cathode. Let's talk about anode. Anode is a positive electrode, negative ions are going to move over here. So chloride is over here and OH minus is over here. Now it says that two ions of similar charge are present. Who is going to get the preference? Which one is lower in the EC series? Hydrogen is lower in the EC series. So over here at cathode, hydrogen will get the preference to get discharged, and hence what reaction are we going to see over here? That hydrogen ion, it accepts one electron and forms hydrogen atom. Number of hydrogen atoms they combine to give us hydrogen gas over here. Now let's talk about anode. Both chlorine and this OH minus migrate to the anode, but the concentration of chlorine is much higher than that of the hydroxyl ion. Hence chlorine is discharged, although this OH ion has lower position in the electrochemical series. Remember that. Okay, so who's going to get discharged over here? Chlorine minus, it will lose one electron and it will become Cl. Chlorine atom, number of chlorine atoms combined to give the chlorine gas. Is this clear? Is this electrolysis of concentrate NaCl is clear to all of you? Okay, now let's talk about dilute NaCl. In the same, let's talk about dilute NaCl solution. Right, in dilute NaCl solution, what are the ions that are present here? Na plus plus Cl minus, and with H2O it has H plus OH minus. So when we move to the respective electrodes, who's going to come to anode? At anode it will be Na plus and H plus, and at cathode it is Na plus and H plus, and at anode we have Cl minus and hydroxide minus. Okay, what will happen at cathode? Who's going to get the preference? The ions, they are the electrolyte is dilute. The electrolyte is dilute solution. So who's going to get the preference? Hydrogen is below sodium, so hydrogen gets the preference over here. So it becomes H plus, will accept one electron and form hydrogen atom. Number of hydrogen atoms combined to give us hydrogen gas. Now let's talk about chlorine and hydroxide ion. It is a dilute NaCl. So who is going to get the preference? Whichever one is lower in the series. So hydroxide is lower in series, so this gets the preference. Hence over here OH minus loses one electron to form OH. Okay, number of OHs combined to form water and oxygen gas is given out. So can you see the difference between the concentrated NaCl and dilute NaCl? In concentrated NaCl at cathode we have hydrogen, in dilute NaCl also at cathode we have hydrogen, but at anode only we can see the difference. Over here, since the concentration of NaCl, where Cl concentration was more, therefore it gets the preference. Over here there is no preference given to Cl. Why? Because it is a dilute solution. So whichever ion which is placed low in the activity series will get the preference. So hydroxyl ion is over here, so it gets the preference here. So till here the relative concentration of ion is clear. Now we talk about the nature of the electrode. Electrodes, they are used in the process of electrolysis, and they are also of two types. Now let us talk about the nature of the electrodes. Electrodes used in the process of electrolysis, they are either inert in nature or they are active in nature. So there are two types of electrodes. So this is what we mean to say the nature of the electrode. whether it is an inert electrode, whether it is an active electrode. The electrodes which are used to determine the ion preferred for discharge. Okay, so if it is an inert electrode, so inert electrodes like graphite and platinum, they are said to be inert electrodes. Okay, they will not take part in the electrolytic reaction whatsoever, right? So the electrolysis will thus depend only and only upon these two factors. So if the nature of the electrode is inert, that means it is not going to take part in the chemical reaction, then completely what happens, the electrolysis depends upon point number 1 or point number 2, whichever is feasible, right? But if it is an active electrode, like for example most of the metals like copper, it could be nickel, it could be silver or gold, they take part in the electrolytic reaction and the product will be very different than what you find in the inert electrodes. I hope this is very clear. So you may be asked, name two inert electrodes. These are the two inert electrodes. Name two active electrodes. Any of these two. Now, how does the nature of the electrode help in the preferential discharge of ions? It says that if it is an inert electrode, that means if it is a graphite or platinum, it will not take part in the chemical reaction. But if it is an active electrode, then it is definitely going to take part in the chemical reaction. Okay, so let's take few examples over here, like in the electrolysis of copper sulfate solution. Okay, copper is deposited where? At cathode, and copper ions, they are formed at anode if copper cathode and copper anode they are used. So oxygen will be formed at anode if the platinum anode is used over here. So let us understand about electrolyte copper sulfate using an inert electrode. Okay, so use graphite. So when I say use graphite means I'm using inert electrode. Okay, so what are the ions present in the electrolyte? CuSO4 and water. What are they going to give? Cu2 plus SO4 2 minus, and this is H plus OH minus. Okay, so let's go to cathode and anode. So what is present at cathode? Cu2 plus and H plus. So which ion are present at cathode? Copper ion, that is cupric, and hydrogen, and at anode it is sulfate ion and OH minus, hydroxide ion. Now copper ion, hydrogen ion, who is going to get the preference over here? I never said concentrated copper sulfate. Clear? It is a, if I do not use the word concentrated, it obviously means that this is a dilute solution. So if it is a dilute solution, preference will be given to that ion which is placed lower in the EC series. So who is placed lower? Copper is placed lower in the EC series. So copper will accept 2 electron and will become an atom, right? Now coming to sulfate ion and hydroxyl ion. Out of these two, hydroxyl ion is placed lower in the activity series. So this gets the preference over here. OH minus loses 1 electron, forms OH. Number of OHs combined to form H2O plus O2. So this is the kind of reaction that takes place when we are using a graphite electrode. Means graphite has just been used for the proper reaction to take place, but itself it has not taken part in a chemical reaction. Now let us talk about copper sulfate using an active electrode. So active electrode could be, now whichever solution the electrolyte has a metal, that particular metal is used as an electrode. So over here it is copper sulfate, so I'm going to use copper electrode. Now copper electrode is an active electrode, do remember that. So what do we have? Copper sulfate it forms Cu2 plus SO4 2 minus, and water will also give H plus OH minus. Okay, so at cathode let us see, at anode let us see. So at cathode, which two ions move? Cu2 plus and H plus, anode SO4 2 minus and OH minus. Okay, so over here what do you see? Whichever one is lower in the EC series, so high, copper is lower there, so Cu2 plus 2E will give us Cu, copper. Now talking about anode. Anode, it says it is an active electrode. Which one? It is a copper electrode. So anode over here, anode is made of copper, right? So now these two ions are not going to get the preference. The nature of the electrode is going to work over here. Okay, so copper anode, it is going to lose two electrons and become copper ions. These copper ions, they again move into the electrolyte, and from the electrolyte it will go to cathode. So this is what happened. The continuous copper ions from the anode are being released into the electrolyte and they move to cathode. Then again more of anode is removing the copper ions, more they are getting discharged in the electrolyte, and then they are deposited where? At cathode. But over here, since anode is made up of copper, therefore the color of the electrolyte does not fade. It remains blue. Over here what happens? The color of the electrolyte, it completely fades. Here it remains blue. Here, because it is only being utilized, so here it will become white. So is the difference between inert and active electrode is very clear to you? Now some more examples of electrolysis. Okay, let us begin with some examples of electrolysis. Okay, so first one could be electrolysis of molten lead bromide. So over here, what is the electrolyte? Electrolyte is your lead bromide. Okay, what is the formula of it? PbBr2. So what is the temperature maintained here? The temperature maintained is around above 380°C. Okay. Now, what will happen? What kind of electrolytic cell do we use? The electrolytic cell overused over here is the crucible made of silica. Why is this crucible made of silica used? Because it can resist high temperature. Okay. Now what kind of electrodes? The cathode and anode, they are both made up of graphites. The electrodes, cathode and anode, both are graphite rods. So if it is a graphite rod, means what are we talking? They are weak in nature, okay, or inert in nature, right? Now let us see, look at the electrolyte. What are the ions present? What are the ions present over here? It is Pb2 plus and Br minus. Remember, I did not write H plus or OH minus. Why? Because it is simple heating, temperature is above 380 degrees, this particular compound lead bromide has been heated to give out these ions. Is that clear? So over here it is not a solution, therefore we did not write water over here. Okay, so now let us look at electrode, let us look at cathode, reactions at cathode and at anode. So positively charged ion is going to move towards cathode, that is Pb2 plus, right? And what will move towards anode? Br minus. So here this is going to accept 2 electrons and form lead. Okay, and bromine, it loses 1 electron and it will form bromine. Number of bromines they combine to form bromine. So what do we see in the overall reaction? The overall reaction is something like this. Overall reaction that you need to write will be something like PbBr2 on heating gives Pb plus bromine gas. Okay. Now what do you observe? This is the basic question which you all make a lot of mistake. What do you observe during the electrolysis of molten lead bromide? Okay, so first thing that you observe, so you write down dark reddish brown fumes of bromine evolved at where? At anode, right? And what happened at cathode? Lead is what color? It is grayish white metal. So we can write down the second point over here, that grayish white metal. Okay, that is lead is formed on the cathode. Okay, a layering has taken place of lead. Which color? Grayish white. So these are the observations that you need to write if you are asked what happens on heating to the molten lead bromide. I hope till here everything is clear. So when the current is turned on, the positive lead ions, they always migrate where? Towards the cathode, right? Here what will happen? It will take 2 electrons and then become neutral. Fine. Now the negative bromide ions, they come in contact with the anode and give an electron each and become bromine atoms. So these two atoms, they combine to form bromine, that is Br and Br over here to give you bromine. Now, why did we use silica gel? I had written over here crucible made up of silica gel, since silica is non-reactive, okay? And hence it is used in the electrolytic cell. It can withstand even high temperature up to 380 degrees, and therefore it is almost a non-conductor of electricity also. Hence, this is the best example for electrolytic cell that you have chosen. Next, the solid lead bromide. It is a non-conductor of electric current. Why? Because it is in its solid state, right? Since there are no free ions present over here, the ions are tightly packed. So when they are heated, that means in the molten state, okay? When they are in the molten state, the crucible is heated from outside to keep the lead bromide in the molten state, and hence the grayish white PPT is obtained over here. Okay. Now coming to the ions, they become free when the fused or in its molten state. Graphite anode is preferred over here to the any other inert electrode such as platinum. Since why? Because graphite is unaffected by the reactive bromine vapors. So I wind up over here. Tomorrow I shall come back to you with the electrolysis of water. Thank you.